Hey, good evening, Juliana. How are you? I hope you've had a great week. Okay, and are prepared for session 5, okay, of English 5. Okay, today we have very interesting topics that show purpose, the why we do things. Okay, for example, I work in order to support my family. Okay, I just use an example of an infinitive to show purpose. Now let's look at the documents, okay? It says infinitives to show purpose. Infinitives formed with to plus the base form of a verb are commonly used to express purpose. They answer the question why regarding an action, indicating the reason or intention behind it. How to use infinitives to show purpose. Here's their basic structure. We use to plus the base form of the verb to explain the purpose of an action. For example, I went to the store to buy milk. Okay. So what was the reason I went to the store? To buy milk. That was my objective. That was my purpose. Okay. The next one says replacing in order to. Now, in order to is the longer version, okay, that we use to express purpose. Instead of in order to, we could just shorten it to to. Okay. Example, infinitives of purpose often replace the phrase in order to or so as to, which can be used for more formal context. So if you notice here, it only says to. Here you have in order to. This is the long version. The short version will be just to. Okay. Negative purpose. To express a negative purpose, the reason for not doing something, use not to plus the base form of the verb. For example, I turned off the lights not to wake the baby. Okay, so we have the negative form. We use not before to. Subject consistency. The infinitive of purpose is typically used when the subject of the main verb and the infinitive verb are the same. For example, she went to the library to study. Okay, that is basically consistency, something we do habitually. We also have examples here. He exercises every day to stay healthy. What is the purpose of exercising? Staying healthy. She saved money to buy a new car. What is the purpose of saving money? Buying a new car. I called him to invite him to the party. The purpose of calling him was to invite him. He left early in order not to miss his train. What was the reason he left early? To not miss the train. We spoke quietly so as not to wake the children. Purpose, not waking the children. So we spoke quietly to not wake up the children. Note, when the subject of the main verb and the infinitive verb are different, you would typically use so that clause instead of an infinitive of purpose. For example, I went to the library so that John could study. So if you notice, we have different subjects, I, and we also have John. We normally use so that, okay, in order to show purpose when we're talking about a different subject than the primary one or the main subject. Okay, I suggest you watch these videos of infinitives to show purpose. Let's take a look of what it has.
Let's talk a little bit more about infinitive. Infinitives
We're going to look at just a little bit of the video.
for why someone does something or the purpose for something. So we call this type of infinitive usage infinitives of purpose. Infinitives of purpose explain the purpose or the reason for why something happened. For example, you're watching this video right now. Why? Why are you watching this video? Okay, maybe you say to improve your English, or do you say for improving your English? Which one is it? Well, if you know what an infinitive is, you know it should be to improve. We use infinitive, which is to, but the base form of a verb, to show reason and purpose for why we do things. So it would look like this. I'm watching this video. Why? To improve my English. Here's the infinitive right there. It explains the purpose and why watching this video. You could also say, I'm watching this video in order with my English. That's also okay. It shows purpose. But a lot of times people will cut this part out because you can say the same thing without all those words. So why else would you watch this video? I'm watching this video to pass time. That's the purpose, that's the reason. I'm watching this video for doing homework. Remember, you can't say for plus a gerund when you want to say why something is happening or why the purpose. So we don't say for plus a gerund. Instead, we just use an infinitive. To do. Okay. Now there are cases where it is okay to use the word for to show purpose, but that word for doesn't come with an infinitive or a gerund after it to show purpose. I can't say I watched this video for improving my English or for passing the time, because it doesn't work like that. We need to use an infinitive. But what you can do is you can say, I'm watching this video for my English. You just say for plus a noun. Or I'm watching this video for entertainment. Or I'm watching this video for homework, okay? So that's another way to show purpose, except for it's not an infinitive anymore. Okay, so I'll show you. You can say for, like, I'm watching it for entertainment, or I'm watching it for homework. But we never say for doing homework or for improving English. I hear this a lot. Students will say why they did something. They'll say, oh, why did you do that? Why are you taking this class? Or why are you here? What are you doing? And they'll say for this and for that with the gerund, right? For learning English, for making friends. You know, I don't correct them in that place, but it's important to say why or the purpose of something with to plus the base form. So think about it. Why are you learning English? Why are you watching this video? Why are you taking a class? Answer those questions using an infinitive. I'm watching this video to. I'm learning English to. Okay? All right, I hope that has helped.
Well, we just saw infinitives to show purpose. Now let's look at the next topic, which is gerunds to show purpose. Okay, we saw infinitive. Now we're going to look at gerunds. Now, if you heard correctly, she did say we can use for, but we need to use them with a different verb, not a noun. Okay. Gerunds to show purpose. Gerunds, which are verbs ending in ing that function as nouns, can be used to express purpose, particularly when preceded by the expression for. This construction indicates the function or use of something. For example, this scale is for weighing letters, shows the purpose of the scale. Here's a more detailed explanation using for plus gerund to express purpose. General purpose. The phrase for plus gerund is often used to describe the general purpose or function of something. For instance, a knife is for cutting. Defining a thing. It can also be used to define what a thing is used for. For example, a blender is for mixing ingredients. Identifying a thing's function. The question, what is it for, often prompts a response using for plus gerund to describe the thing's function. Examples, this tool is for weeding. A mouse is a device for moving the cursor around the computer screen. This is good for getting rid of headaches. I use this cloth for dusting. I need a bucket for carrying water. Contrast with infinitives for purpose. While for plus gerund is used for general purpose or function, infinitives to plus base form of the verb are typically used to express personal purpose or intention. Example, I went to the store to buy milk. That is a personal purpose. Versus, I went to the store for some milk. General purpose, need, or a necessity. Example, I use my phone to make calls, personal purpose. Versus, this phone is for making calls. It's a general purpose. So that is the big difference between an infinitive. It's normally more personal than a gerund makes it more general. In short, when you want to explain the function or use of something for a gerund is a good way to do it. When you want to explain why someone is doing something, use an infinitive. So a gerund tends to be more general than an infinitive, okay? I recommend you watch the next video, what is a gerund? Okay, and it gives you an excellent explanation. And last but not least, we have a homework where you're gonna give 10 examples of infinitives to show purpose and 10 examples of gerunds to show purpose. Okay, and that is today's class, Juliana. I'll see you around, okay? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.